Very excited about that. Very happy to have everybody together. Whitney, it's good to see you again. How are you?
Hey, I'm okay. Things have been pretty crazy for everyone. That's definitely not exclusive to me. If you look anywhere, the planet is, I don't want to say imploding. That sounds really dire. Sanity is imploding. That makes more sense. Yeah.
No, that's fair. I've been came into this media space making the joke that we live in a fucking cartoon, and then like every day
it gets more cartoonish. I know,
right?
The fucking police confiscated Lego sets.
Yeah, and now the billionaires are in space.
They made a raid and confiscated Legos.
Get stuck in space, billionaires, please.
I hope they stay there.
If you're going to go flying into the stratosphere on a dick-shaped rocket, the best we can really hope for is full conclusion with an exploding climax somewhere around 45,000 feet. So come on, 2021. You gave us Rumsfeld. You did.
Well, more than that, right? Sheldon Adelson in the beginning of the year. There's been a few others as well that have kicked the bucket. It's just we're all waiting on Kissinger. That guy just holds on way too long. Sucks.
Well, when you're a sentient liver spot that is shot up with like children's blood and adrenochrome every day just to keep you going. Your longevity is a little bit different as you've transcended humanity and become the sentient liver spot. So it's a little different for Kissinger, but come on, 2021, I believe in you. I do.
Well, I believe things will definitely get crazier as we go on. Like every narrative we were told last year has been tripping over itself pretty much. And they're like throwing more. And I think by the end of the year, we'll get the kitchen sink thrown at us by these people. How crazy it will get, I can't even predict. I mean, they have aliens in the narrative mix. Legos are terror tools.
Fuck about them aliens. Nobody cares about them aliens. It's like there's like 10
how
people
can
still. 10 people are like, are doing victory laps, like I told you, and then outside of that, people are like, yeah, okay. Aliens, right? That's neat. That's neat. Do they have good Wi-Fi? Can we get that?
It's like, I wonder what they're gonna use this for.
I was starting to think that the allowable negative coverage of Israel was only related to the fact that they were going to like usher in Project Bluebeam and be like, okay, well now here's your one world government, so it doesn't matter that Israel's a genocidal state because we're all under the same all-encompassing genocidal state now. But we haven't done that yet.
I think it may be coming. The whole alien thing. I mean, if you look at sci-fi, right, and it's pretty much documented. There's been a lot of, input, you could say, from the CIA and the military and what Hollywood does and what sci-fi does to a considerable degree. A lot of times in these post first contact utopias or video games or movies. The planet Earth is ruled by a one world government, and then that is part of a galactic federation or something like that. I mean, that's pretty common, not just to Star Trek, but to a lot of stuff. And they pretty much set it up like that's how it needs to be once the aliens are in the mix. My thing with the whole alien narrative isn't so much like, oh, now we know the truth. The thing is, all this stuff that's been coming out in the mainstream media and why it's okay is because specifically the Pentagon and the CIA are saying it's okay. And most of this report that was given to Congress or whatever, authored specifically by the Pentagon and the CIA together. That's not to say that like some of these like lower ranking pilots and stuff, like I'm not trying to say what they experienced wasn't real or whatever, but obviously there's something else going on. And if you want to, go down a rabbit hole about something like this or like life beyond humans and other planets and whatever, the Pentagon and the CIA should not be your first source of information for anything. especially not that. That's my view anyway.
I'm just trying to get a promo tweet out since we came into the Rockfin right as we were already live on the radio. Cyber Polygon just happened, and as Cyber Polygon is getting underway, multiple attacks on Iranian infrastructure and travel hubs and media hubs occur, and I'm sure that's mere coincidence. However, a number of the things that have been discussed leading up to Cyber Polygon, a number of the sort of initiatives, programs, and papers that have come out just ahead of it, and what's being discussed, not only has nothing to do with coincidence, but is very real and is currently happening. You, Whitney, have an excellent piece out in Last American Vagabond that was published Thursday, right?
Yeah, it's long. Yeah, it's
it
really
is long, but
please
look,
read it though.
But it's not if you're the type of person that like reads anything, period, or reads books or something like that. Yeah, sure, it's a lengthy article, but it's not like there's paragraphs of just filler text or fluff or any of that shit.
Yeah, well,
you're trying to cram like a book's worth of information into.
You can't have fluff.
Well, I even left stuff out of this thing, and I was honestly, the first part of this article I wrote in April, and this was supposed to come out in May, but I was really sick because I'm growing a human that has consequences on the first couple weeks of that, so I wasn't really able to work on it, but I finally finished it just in time for Cyber Polygon, yay! And it's basically about the end game. So I guess some people were fear-mongering about Cyber Polygon, like the exact day of the simulation, there will be doom. And that's not how these things tend to work because, if you remember back, for example, to Event 201, coronavirus, whatever, didn't happen on the exact day that Event 201 happened, right? This is for the elite to get their ducks in a row. And as I point out in the article, what they want to do is coalesce around a shared narrative. Those are their words. So like they want to have a shared narrative for how to justify all the stuff they want to implement, which ultimately is regulation of the internet, a driver's license to get on the internet, something that the US government's been trying to do since the early days of the Obama administration, but wasn't able to justify it. The ACLU and the EFF and all these guys were like, we'll take you to court, blah, blah, blah. But if, there's a catastrophic cyber attack and there's cyber terrorists along with the on the ground domestic terrorists with Legos, then, it's easier to justify having this ID, having a government ID be necessary to go online. And it's not just the US, it's been trying to do this for a long time. The European Union, I think back in 2014, also tried to make it necessary that if you wanted to use social media, you had to sign up for an account with a government issued ID. And of course, the IDs now that are being rolled out, including the one rolled out in the European Union relatively recently, are digital biometric IDs combined with lots of other things, and they'll continue to be combined with more over time. So, in the EU, I think they combine it with the vaccine certification, and you can use it to open a bank account and use various government services and whatnot, but it's really only a matter of time until they link that to financial activity as well. But they also hope to link it to internet access, because basically what they want is an end of privacy period online for the plebs, not for themselves. They plan to encrypt all of their stuff and use all of these privacy enhancing technologies for them. And they say that for the big corporations, the law enforcement agencies, all of these guys get to use it, but the little people don't, because they want to know exactly what the little people are looking at, what content they're consuming, what sites they're visiting, blah, blah, blah. All of this ties intimately into the domestic terror framework. And as I noted in my article, there's actually a lot of overlap between the WEF Partnership Against Cybercrime plan and the Biden administration's domestic terror strategy. Oddly enough, wouldn't you know it, that the U.S. Department of Justice, the FBI, and the Secret Service are all part of the World Economic Forum Partnership Against Cybercrime, and then later write the domestic terror strategy for Biden. So, like, obviously, they were informed by that. And what's interesting also is that this WEF partnership against cybercrime has a lot of involvement from Israeli intelligence companies that I pointed out there. And what I found really nuts is that the head of strategy for the WEF's whole cybersecurity sphere is this guy named Tal Goldstein, who is basically the architect of this Israeli government policy that's admitted now, but it started back in 2012. And it was about using private tech companies, software companies, cybersecurity companies, all of this stuff as a way to basically conduct intelligence operations on behalf of Israeli intelligence agencies, whether it was Mossad, Unit 8200, or another part of Israel's intelligence apparatus. So that's pretty nuts in the context of this, because why would you hire that guy unless you wanted him to do essentially the same for you, right? And so you have to look at a lot of these private sector partners here, like Microsoft, for example, which if you read my work on Epstein and Bill Gates, you will know that it's very likely that Israeli intelligence did compromise Microsoft at some point in the 1990s to a still unknown but probably significant degree. So anyway, choosing to hire Tal Goldstein to be your head of strategy means that you plan to basically conduct an intelligence operation in the pursuit of the solutions that they want, which is the end of privacy and anonymity online. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of on that note, we had the kind of in America, we had the horrifying domestic terror legislation, but it's also coming off the news of the new chat control proposal in the EU, which will basically automatically force kind of these backdoors into chat rooms like WhatsApp and Blue WhatsApp, which is Signal. And then it also allows your private messages to be scanned for information that, you know, they may deem harmful, but in reality, it's another complete violation of privacy. So
they want to end digital privacy for the plebs, period. That's where this is going. And you could argue they're technically already there, but it's not illegal to use encryption and other stuff and technologies that enhance or improve your privacy online, right? And they want to basically make it that way.
It's coming. It's coming. The EU has legislation called chat control that's being put forth that's like an accompanying piece to ACTA 2 that specifically goes after encryption. Our colleague over on Anonymous Bites Back, Mark Lubers, has a